I sat down and just played a vamp between CM7B6 to BBM6 evokes a feeling of melancholy. I love the shades of sadness you can get with. I love trying to capture in music being in the throes of intense grief. A tinge of sadness when you remember someone lost, to even a sense of peace. And even joy out of grief if you know what I mean. Music is amazing for capturing those feelings you can't really put into words. Gotta be the funny. My favorite chord is Dsu's vintage retro shirt. On that starry night, you took your life as lovers often do. Lol, true. I didn't even realize that. I was thinking of it more like a V to me actually. But either way, it's the fall in resolution from a minor IV chord to an I. That's cliché. Funny. My favorite chord is Dsu's vintage retro shirt. Tank top. V-neck. Ladies' tee for men and women. V-neck. Tank top. A major plagal cadence has a completely different feeling, and a simple I to IV is even more different. I normally try to stay away from with too many chromatic notes when I'm trying to play sweet sounding stuff, because normally those end up sounding really mysterious. But since they're both super bright MM7 chords, it gives a funny. My favorite chord is Dsu's vintage retro shirt. I'm a bit confused by this because in a major key the V chord is minor. But so is the E chords. And it's opposite in the minor key. So I don't know what you mean by V3. Could you give me chord names as an example? Or what key you're operating in? Would that be E to V, E for the first one? That's how I'd look at it in the key of G at least. Official funny. My favorite chord is Dsu's vintage retro sweatshirt. Hoodie. Sweatshirt. I've heard you could analyze it both ways, but secondary dominants are way less confusing to me. Lol. Oh okay. I was a bit confused because normally Roman numerals are used strictly for chords. The way I studied, V is actually a funny. My favorite chord is Dsu's vintage retro shirt. I see. 5 of 7. I'm new at expressing theory, though I've been self-studying for a while. Thank you for helping me articulate myself. To me, nostalgia and melancholy are two very similar feelings. Or I just feel them at the same time very often. Either way, thanks for the input. Listening to modern, they very frequently use an IIV progression to create melancholy and tension. It's in the theme for Coco, Moana, and lots of other products.